The Gospel of Matthew records a moment that has puzzled scholars for centuries. The disciples come to Jesus and ask, "Why do you speak to the crowds in parables?" And Jesus answers, "Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given." Mysteries, an inner teaching reserved for the initiated, a different level of knowledge not available to the general public. What were those mysteries? The Cayce Readings offer some striking clues, and when those clues are placed alongside modern scholarship on the mystery religions of the ancient world, something remarkable emerges. In the ancient Mediterranean world, alongside the public religious life of temples and sacrifices, there existed a network of what were called mystery cults. These were initiatory traditions. You had to be formally initiated to receive the teaching. Outsiders knew they existed, but not what they contained. The most famous were the Eleusinian mysteries of ancient Greece, devoted to Demeter and Persephone. But there were many others, all of them in different forms promised the same things: purification, immortality, and a transforming union with the divine. Many of them involved death and resurrection symbolism, redemption through a sacred meal, ritual baptism, a mystical union with a dying and rising God. The parallels with early Christianity are striking, and for centuries, scholars have debated what to make of them. Historian and New Testament scholar Richard Carrier has made the most direct argument that Christianity was not merely influenced by the mystery religions, but was itself one. He writes that if we define a mystery religion as any Hellenistic cult in which individual salvation was achieved through ritual initiation into secret knowledge, Christianity fits the definition completely and demonstrably. Carrier's intent is to undermine historical claims about Jesus, but the philosophical framework he provides, the cosmological context, the initiatory structure, and the mystery religion pattern is precisely the context the Cayce Readings illuminate from a very different angle. When Edgar Cayce's biographer Tom Sugrue was preparing to write the philosophy chapter of Cayce's biography, There Is a River, he asked the entranced Cayce directly, "Is Gnosticism the closest type of Christianity to that which is given through this source?" Cayce's answer was careful. "This is a parallel." Then he added a critique that early church leaders had taken significant shortcuts, the most important of which was ruling out reincarnation as a theological proposition. Theologian Richard Drummond, who wrote the most scholarly treatment of Jesus, Christianity, and the Cayce Readings, examines this carefully. He notes that the early Christian Gnostics, however controversial, widely held the doctrine of the pre-existence of souls and reincarnation. This view was not limited to groups considered heterodox. It was widespread in the early church before being formally excluded. The readings provide a rich portrait of the Gnostic environment through life readings for individuals said to have had past lives in the region around where Jesus was born and lived. These readings describe the diverse religious and cultural landscape in which early Christianity emerged. What is most distinctive about the Cayce Readings' treatment of this subject is their portrait of Jesus himself as an initiate. The readings refer to Jesus as the great initiate who took the final brotherhood degrees with John the Baptist, his cousin, the forerunner, in the Great Pyramid at Giza in Egypt. This final initiation was the culmination of a much longer educational journey. The readings describe Jesus spending approximately 1 year in Persia studying with a teacher named Junaid, about 3 years in India learning from a teacher named Kahanji, and the longest period of study and initiation with Zar in Egypt. In each location, the curriculum was specific. In Persia, the unison of forces. In India, cleansing of the body as preparation for spiritual work. In Egypt, the deepest teachings of the temple tradition. The reading's interpretation of what this means is perhaps the most important passage for this video. Many of the apparent unnatural activities attributed to Jesus in the Scriptures, the miracles, are actually natural abilities latent within each individual that may be developed and utilized as the soul continues to evolve. The miracles are not violations of natural law. They are demonstrations of natural abilities that the soul can develop through initiation, purification, and spiritual practice. Jesus was showing what is possible. The pattern is meant to be followed. The mystery religions of antiquity all promised what Cayce's biographer called placement of Christ at the apex of the philosophical structure. Thus, the Cayce Readings describe a Christianized version of those mystery traditions, the same initiatory pattern, the same promise of immortality and divine union, the same knowledge reserved for the initiated, but with Jesus as the capstone. And what did those mysteries teach? According to the readings, the pre-existence and immortality of the soul, reincarnation, the soul's journey through planetary realms between lives, the latent abilities of the soul that can be developed through spiritual practice, the oneness of all humanity with its source. These are precisely the teachings that were ruled out or marginalized in the formation of institutional Christianity. We cannot reconstruct the lost mysteries of the early church, but we can note that the framework they occupied, initiatory traditions promising immortality, soul development, and union with the divine through disciplined practice, is precisely the framework that the Cayce Readings articulate in considerable detail. The mystery religions are not a historical curiosity. They are the philosophical context within which the soul's journey, planetary sojourns, reincarnation, the development of latent spiritual abilities, was once common knowledge, and then, largely, forgotten. Reflect on what Jesus called the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. What do you think those were? If the miracles are natural abilities latent in every soul, what does that change about how you understand your own potential?